Of course, many of the same politicians who now publicly embrace Trump privately dread him. They know what a disaster he's been and will continue to be for our party.
Here's a question. What would possess a woman, or anyone really, to vote for someone capable of this?
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black.
Kamala Harris is a C word. You heard that right. A big old C word. In fact, all of the other C words think she's the biggest C word of them all. That's right, she's a tax-hiking, regulation-loving, gun-grabbing communist. And the worst part, she's proud of it. Kamala Harris, the C word America simply can't afford.
Well, Nikki Haley is the latest to slam Trump's racist misogyny, and she did it on Fox.
They were right to denounce the comedian. They need to go and tell Puerto Ricans how much, they do value them. They need to tell Latinos that, but they also need to look at how they're talking about women. I mean, this bromance and this masculinity stuff, it borders on edgy to the point that it's going to make women uncomfortable. You've got affiliated PACs that are doing commercials about calling Kamala the C word, or you had speakers at Madison Square Gardens, referring to her and her pimps. That is not the way to win women. That is not the way to win people who are concerned about Trump style. This is a time to talk about the economy. This is the time to talk about immigration. This is the time to talk about national security. And this is the time to talk about Kamala Harris.
She's right, but she's also wrong. Now, I'm no shrink, although many of you, I'm sure, think I need one. But Nikki Haley reminds me of all those women on Cops.
Gets on top of me and he goes, "Bitch, you gonna me right now." And then he holds me like this, and he has me like this.
Their husbands beat them up, but when the cops show up, they defend their husband. He's a good man. And now Nikki Haley is at it again, demonstrating her weakness and following a long list of men and women Trump has maligned, who instead of standing up for themselves and their families, allow their spines to get soft and cave.
There is no way that the American people are going to vote for a convicted criminal. They're not.
So I will be voting for Trump.
But there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Well, the Madison Square Garden fiasco is only notable in that it's a week before Trump loses the election, because Trump and his little incels have been attacking both women and people of color for years. And until January the 6th, no one on the right even stood up. And even when they did, they sat right back down.
Last week's violent attack on the Capitol was undemocratic, un-American, and criminal.
Trump set the bar for misogyny and racism over the last 15 years, and it's the ballast behind his sick popularity. People love his hate. While Fox News and others lie about the current economy, the strongest in half a century, Trump's business acumen is about as deep as Melania's vocabulary.
My parents impressed on me.
He doesn't know what a tariff is, and he thinks inflation is that new blow-up doll that'll pee on him. In the last 8 years, Trump has repeatedly beaten down supporters, and yet still no one stands up to him, which makes me wonder what Haley is up to now. Back in July, Haley sent a cease and desist to the Haley Voters for Harris, which is a political action committee working with Kamala Harris's campaign, who, after Haley imploded, moved their support, first to Biden and now Kamala. Haley told the group they got a cease and desist from using her name or her likeness or anything that implies that she's supporting Kamala Harris for president. The letter ends with this: Ambassador Haley has been clear in her support of Harris's opponent. They can't even say Trump. And in response, the Haley Voters for Harris group said, "We don't claim to represent Haley or her views, because what are her views?" Good question. Haley's followers are just as perplexed as the rest of us. How can Trump trash Haley and her husband in such a typically Donnie Diapers fashion, but only her fans are offended?
It is getting personal between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. 2 weeks before South Carolina's Republican primary, the former president is taking personal shots at Haley rather than focusing on policy differences. He mocked her husband for not being with her out on the campaign trail. He is currently deployed overseas with the South Carolina National Guard. But here's what he said.
Where's her husband? Oh, he's away. He's away. What happened to her husband? What happened to her husband? Where is he? He's gone. He knew. He knew.
Again, he is deployed overseas right now. And moments ago, the former South Carolina governor hit back at Donald Trump, demanding that the former president confront her directly.
Donald Trump had a rally today. And in that rally, he mocked my husband's military service.
And I'll say this. Donald, if you have something to say, don't say it behind my back. Get on a debate stage and say it to my face. If you mock the service of a combat veteran, you don't deserve a driver's license, let alone being president of the United States.
But you know, Haley's voters for Harris might just be the thing that changes this race, because the Haley for Harris voters grew exponentially after Biden stepped down, and now they're part of a Republican against Trump movement that will have a significant effect next week.
The voters to think about are the 37% who voted for Nikki Haley. Who would they vote for in a general election?
It's going to be a very substantial number, could be a third of the vote. He's going to leave that on the table belonging to another candidate. All you need is 5% of the 30%. Yeah. We're talking about a sliver. Yeah. That's all you need to not vote for Donald Trump. Of this representative kind of voter in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, in Georgia. And so these are disastrous voting results for Donald Trump.
We are in the final days of this campaign, and the Republican voices of Cheney, Kinzinger, and others were strong and brave, but too few. Watching Nikki Haley stumble through this process is both sad and disturbing. What is Trump's appeal? I understand these guys, but not her.
We're trying to get a feel for people where they stand on the issues. Do you believe schools should be teaching critical race theory?
No.
Why not?
I feel like, honestly, it brings about more racism, bringing more issues around that don't need to be.
What is critical race theory for people that don't understand it?
See, I really don't even know. I'm assuming. Can you explain it a little bit to me, honestly?
Yeah. You know what? So what if he wants to grab pussy? I want to grab pussy.
When Haley's husband was attacked by Trump, it reminded me of when this freak attacked Vance's wife, who's also Indian. By the way, the guy, Nick Fuentes, was a guest of Trump's at Mar-a-Lago.
J.D. Vance also has a non-white wife, an Indian wife, and a kid named Vivek. All his kids have Indian names. So it's like, what exactly are we getting here? And that's not a dig at him just because I'm a racist or something. But it's like, who is this guy really? Do we really expect that the guy who has an Indian wife and named their kid Vivek is going to support white identity?
Vance didn't defend her like Cruz didn't defend his wife. It's really pathetic that this loathsome porta-john can still turn respectable people into this.
So I will be voting for Trump.
Kamala Harris is tough, empathetic, smart, and a transparent politician, plus a wonderful human being. Just yesterday, she stood up to Biden's comments that Trump's voters are garbage.
I believe in hate speech. When you have hate for somebody, I am 100% into speech.
Even though they are.
Are you proud of what happened here today?
Absolutely.
Nikki Haley can't even articulate why she's voting for Trump and not voting for Harris. I mean, it's the strongest economy in 50 years. Inflation, unemployment are down. Jobs are through the roof. The border crossings are going down. Even though Trump shit-canned the Senate GOP border bill, that was exactly what Republicans wanted. And Biden did what American presidents do. They stand up to Putin and Russia.
You don't deserve a driver's license, let alone being president of the United States.
She was right about this, then she simply got weak.
Voting for Trump.
But you know, after the attack on Puerto Ricans, who are Americans, of which more than 5 million reside in swing states, I think you're going to see people more than willing to finally tell Trump exactly what he needs to hear.
Suck my fat one, you cheap dime store hood.
Damn right.
I'm ready, let's go.
This is not a normal election.
Who's with me?
Yes!
Tick-tock, mother...
They're eating the dogs.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Frack. Trust me.
Shut the fuck up, Dan.
Who's with me? Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes!
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.